Hey, welcome back to the last and final episode to Kukosha Kwemukadzi. My name is Sihle Pasarai, and I'll be taking you through the final episode. So, based on the interviews and conversations that have been conducted for the duration of this podcast, we can take away that women's access to land has been mediated by their male connections. In other words, in many situations, women have found themselves having to earn the land rights usage, and they mainly acquire this by laboring first on their polygamous husbands and property, and then on the portions of land assigned to them by husbands. In other words, they cannot get access to land by simple FN or agnostic rights. The colonial regulations clearly discriminate against women when it comes to land allocation. So then it only names married males as the holders of agricultural rights, which is a main source of income for people that stay within rural areas. So then, whereas divorced women are only eligible if their ex-husbands' whereabouts are unknown, or if their ex-husbands are currently living outside of the rural areas of Zimbabwe. This So then, with the previous interviews that we've conducted, this has also brought to light that it is even more difficult for women to acquire land, as they often have to enlist the help of male agnatic kin people that they are related to in order to fight the pro-male administration and prove that they have been abandoned by their husbands, whereas male divorcees and widowers are eligible for land allocations, regardless of whether they had to be dependent on children. So then, as a result, colonial land laws continue to reinforce women's customary marginalization and relegation to non-monetized domestic labor, limiting their livelihood possibilities to those that are dependent on being connected to and obedient to males. So then, the socially marginalized life event of being divorced and being a woman within Zimbabwe continues to pose a threat to women, robbing them of their male protection and access to land use rights, which are important junctures in their lives. So then what we should essentially take away from this particular podcast and or rather expect going into my research project is that we shouldn't necessarily expect a positive outcome given the current circumstances and current factual information that we have unpacked and discussed from the podcast. If anything, we need to be very open-minded and to accept it, especially look forward to wanting to cultural change within Zimbabwe and ensuring that women do eventually gain access to land rights, particularly to women that live in rural areas. I would just extend to everyone that has been a part of making this podcast. I would also like to express my gratitude to our lecturer, Nobile Malaza, who made it possible for this podcast to happen. I would also like to express gratitude to my personal muse and inspiration, which is my grandmother, who has particularly inspired this topic. And I look forward to conducting my research project and finding ways in which I can assist other divorced women or guide them and do my research in a manner that's going to also allow me to learn, as well as other divorced women in Zimbabwe to learn about land access and land allocation. Because I think one of the problems is that they aren't necessarily exposed to mannerisms in which they can gain land. So I believe in women empowerment, as I did mention in our first podcast that I am a feminist. I believe in the empowerment of women, and one way or another, women will come out on top and we will succeed. So thank you so much. With that being said, this podcast has come to a close, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And I hope you've learned and will take this thing away this podcast and have you take this from other people. Thank you so much, and bye.
Azani.